And we're back. Hey, they're saying it's all good. Guys, it's all good. We did it.
Everything's good.
We fixed it. We fixed everything.
Wow.
All right. Well, our work here is done. But just for shits and giggles, let's talk about anime or just our weekends.
I don't want to talk about either of those.
Oh, no. We fucked it all up again. It was all
yeah.
good for a hot second, and then we fucked it up again.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm your host. I'm Ben.
I'm Scott.
I'm Kieran.
We're here. This is Anime FMK, where we talk about 10 shows. Only this week it's like, what, 4?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. Because
Oh, wait a second. Last week it was 5 shows.
Yep. Every week a show dies until we decide that we're left with the good shows, and then nothing has to die no more. That tends to happen real late in the season, if at all. In fact, last season, as I recall, wasn't the final episode the only one where something didn't die?
Yeah.
I think so.
Of course, that was also because MMO Junkie finished early.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So shows, I don't know, for some reason, all of Japan doesn't sync their show schedules for our convenience, fuckers.
I know.
Actually, you want to know something kind of funny?
I do.
Dragon Ball Super. So they're on like the last 3 episodes, and they keep taking a week break. So we didn't get an episode this week. We're gonna finally get the last 2 episodes at the end of the month, one after the other. And it was frustrating. It's like, why are you doing this? And it was because they want to make sure that the next show that's taking its place starts at the beginning of April, because they want to make sure it starts at the beginning of the season. So the rest of us are like, you're at the finale. Why would you do this here?
Yeah, it is so frustrating when shows have longer and longer breaks the closer they get to the finale. George R. R. Martin. Yeah. That
Pop
was
culture.
Yep. That was a Game of Thrones reference and nothing else. Kieran, how was your week?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
I'm in the now, and that's where we are.
You don't have to talk about it.
That's okay.
The here and the now.
Well, we can talk about right now. Something is dead. We killed it.
Yeah, you murderers.
Actually,
you
no.
guys murdered 2
You
innocent
killed it.
girls.
Yeah. Pop Team Epic.
Yeah.
Narrowly edged out Hakumei and Mikochi on the poll. For
I didn't
last
see the
week.
result. I know, like, you were goofing that it was 50-50 or something. For
It
It
was.
was for so
that's
long.
good.
It was neck and neck.
And the margin in which it died is still kind of remarkable.
Yeah.
It took 54%.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it remarkably I was surprised. I had no idea which way that it was going to go, because we have Pop Team Epic, which is one of the biggest anime of the year. Let's be completely honest, just by like sheer audacity of the show itself. And then you had Hakumei Mikochi, and it's like,
Yeah, which is squirreled away on fucking High Dive.
which
Yeah.
it is hilarious that you had 2 shows about 2 little girls like battling to the death. And
I'd watch that show.
yeah.
Yeah.
The crossover special where Hakumei and Mikochi have to fight Bopoko
Ha-
and Pimi.
Oh my god,
okay,
that
yeah.
sounds amazing.
Because
If-
you know it would just stop in the middle of it, and they'd teach them how to like braid their hair,
Yep.
and we'd spend 5 minutes seeing every little technique.
Yep. They would use some kind of giant fruit as the dye for whatever they're making.
But
Is that a helicopter?
It sure sounds like it. I don't know if the mics are picking that up.
It's a helicopter.
I hope not.
We do live next to a private, or at least a regional airport. So, okay. So yes, Pop Team Epic is dead, which is sort of sad, but.
Whatever, man. This show isn't binding in what I watch. I still watched it. It was still all right.
So did
it
I.
Was still the fucking show.
I still watched it, and I still kind of didn't laugh. So.
I'm also watching Darling in the Franxx, but I haven't talked about that. I don't want to talk about it.
That was the thing that
was
last
the
week
thing, yes.
everybody was saying.
Because I forgot to say it.
To come back to it.
Yeah. It's still bad.
You know what? At the end of the season, I would like you to talk about the rest of it if you are so willing.
Yeah, I might.
Yeah, I mean that's always been the conceit of this show is once it's killed, the 3 of us no longer have to watch it. You can keep watching whatever you want. And if you want to still talk about it, that's fine.
They don't tell you that Ben showed up with a knife at my place when I turned Pop Team Epic on last time.
I actually also watched something I was not contractually obligated to watch this week.
Oh, what'd you watch?
I watched the first 3 episodes of After the Rain.
Oh, nice.
Shit.
Yeah. And funnily enough, I did not. First, I wanted to get that oh shit, but I also didn't say, hey, I'm gonna do this because if you had any extra time, I wanted you to watch fucking My Hero Academia, you asshole.
I watched all of Made in Abyss, actually.
So, man, I want to talk to you about
Yeah.
Made in Abyss then.
That was incredible.
Yeah, okay, we're going to do one of our little things
Yeah, we
about
should
Made
do
in
it- we
Abyss.
should do a little
Which,
diddly.
by the way, speaking of little things, expect this week our first, we're calling them Bento Bites, to show up on 4-Star Bento.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to be, mind if I tell them what it's about?
Yeah, no, it's about My Hero.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about My Hero Academia, specifically the mentordom of All Might to Deku. So make sure to check that out this week. Not sure what day it's going on. We're still
Yep.
trying to decide that.
Yeah, if you wind up watching this on YouTube, it might already be out. We don't know.
Yep.
But if not, it'll be out soon.
Before we start, let's give that moment of silence so I can, slip it in.
Hey, Papaco.
Sup, sugar lips?
If you press this button,
Click.
we die.
Click, 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 click.
Hey, Papaco.
Sup, sugar lips?
If you press this button,
Click.
we die.
Click, 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 click.
And it's dead.
And it's dead forever. Goodbye.
Forever.
All right, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, after the rain, I'm gonna keep watching it.
Oh, interesting.
I can't tell if it's giving me that vibe, sort of like those first couple of episodes of Ancient Magus, where it's like, this is kind of uncomfortable, but I suspect that's that I might be feeling what they want me to feel.
Okay.
As opposed to Citrus, where it's like, no, they're playing this as, oh, this is love. No, this is infatuation.
Okay.
And I hope the show sticks to its guns with that. But I can't tell if it will. But the soundtrack is amazing. I like the art style. The characters are a little noodly armed for my tastes, but the faces are real good, like real sharp, angular style to it. And it does a good job of like getting into these characters and why this young girl might become infatuated with her boss. And why this boss might become infatuated with this young girl. Besides the fact that she's 17 and hot. The camera gets a little male gazy sometimes.
Yeah.
I would only expect.
Yeah. Also, there's
Oh, sorry.
this character who's a guy her age who is way into her, and she is just having none of it in a way that I appreciate.
Okay.
Like he overhears her talking to her friends about what do you like in a guy, and she lists off stuff about this older guy that she's into. Like, yeah, a guy who's, maybe he's got some bedhead. I like the mussed up look. And this guy's like, oh. And it's very humorous, but like honest. Because guys, here's your dating advice for the day. Don't listen to girls when they tell you what they like, because they don't know. They will list off these surface level qualities. She likes the fact that he's mussy because it makes him feel because the guy she's already into, it makes him feel more accessible. A guy her age is already accessible. He's just not attractive. And
Womp womp.
yeah. And I'm sure this works the exact same way with the genders flipped too. I'm just not trying to fuck guys, so I don't notice it. But like, you ask a guy what he likes, like, I like a girl with glasses, as long as she's conventionally attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, like as a guy who's into guys, you don't like when you're that age, when you're in high school, you do not know exactly what you want. You only have ideas of what you want. By the time you're my age, you probably know what you want because you've had a bunch of different things. But at that time period, what you want is all like centered around something that you definitely do want, and you're taking qualities away from that, which are arbitrary.
Yep.
Like, you're like, as he just said, like, oh yeah, I want a girl who wears glasses. No, you probably want a girl who's relatively smart and attractive. Like, you're taking a surface level quality and attributing something else to it. That's not the same. So yeah.
Yeah. My girlfriend showed up because she wears contacts sometimes, but she showed up like, I don't know, 2 or 3 dates in, and she was wearing glasses. Oh shit, she wears glasses too? Dope! But that was after I already knew I was attracted to her.
Yeah.
Yeah. But regardless, how attracted are we to Ancient Magus Bride this week? Let's find out In this episode 22, Chisei and Kartophilus appear in a laboratory. He says that he will take her arm, her cursed Dargon arm, and in exchange, he'll give her a piece of himself so that she'll never die. First, though, he wants to make sure his body won't reject her, so he pops out one of his eyeballs, which he can apparently just do, and replaces it with one of Chisei's, which he pops out, which he can apparently just do. Then Chisei has a long flashbacky dream sequence in which she comes to terms with her mother and has a chat with the piece of Kartophilus that is inside her now.
Yeah, so who knew that Kartophilus was part of the Uchiha clan? I was not
I
expecting
know, we're getting
this kind of
Naruto level
event.
eyeballs here. Just anybody can just pop them out. Here you go, buddy.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, we're going to go by magic rules. Yeah,
Oh,
all
I
right.
don't give a shit.
Yeah,
That's
I'm going to buy that he can just do that. That's cool. Also creepy as hell.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that sound design, that got me.
Yeah, that last second before
Yeah.
he pops her eye out is like, ah, no!
It was an intense episode. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I was not expecting. Okay, so one thing that I do not like that anime commonly does is the extended flashback.
Yeah.
This, like, well, since we need to explain this backstory and we have no way of doing it within the story more organically, we're literally just going to give you a flashback of what happened. But at the very least, this is more thematically relevant and actually takes place within the context of the story. We're seeing it as an actual, like, hey, yeah, she's re-witnessing these events firsthand. There's no, like, this isn't One Piece where suddenly we just get the backstory, like, non-diegetically.
Yeah, I'm happy seeing how they worked it with a structure. And as you said, diegetically, with it making them trying to make lore sense out of it, and in a cool way, I like the visual of her. It's, essentially, this is all just a big visual metaphor of her resolving mommy issues.
Yeah.
And I think that was needed, and I think it did its job well.
I don't think it did.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a problem that, like, this is not specific to Ancient Magus Bride. This is a problem that literally all fiction has. That's just not how life works. You don't resolve your issues by having a vision quest and then everything's better.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think it was just this. Like, she talks about the fact that she has met all of these people. She has gone through a lot of changes. So when she finally comes face to, like, because she was already at the point of accepting what happened and overcoming it. This was the last step that she needed along a journey that's taken months, if not years. So I feel like this is kind of like the last step in that regard. And obviously, I don't think she's resolved of it entirely.
Yeah.
But this is her first step in saying, like, I'm not forgiving you, but I'm going to now try and live my life, you know, without this hanging over my head all the time. So I don't think this was just this episode. I think this was everything leading up to it. And this is, like, finally a moment, like the moment where she feels free.
Yeah, I don't know. And this may again be my wrapping up my personal shit up into my reading of this fiction, but one of our viewers actually wrote a lovely article on Medium after some of the stuff we were saying.
I saw that.
Yeah, in a past week. I forget if it was last week or the week before about Place Further Than the Universe, talking about dealing with the loss of his father and kind of coming to the conclusion that closure is bullshit. It doesn't actually exist. And I kind of agree with him. So there is no moment of clarity. There is no summing up. It's just little by little for the rest of your life forever. So and it's frustrating because that doesn't really make, like, there is an arc to fiction. There is a narrative structure with climaxes and denouements. It's hard to build a climax and a denouement out of that, but that would have been more honest.
Well, it's
I don't know. I feel like that's personal and subjective for a lot of people. Like, of course, it's still going to be a lingering thing. I didn't see it the way it was portrayed as she is now, like, solved this problem. It's that I acknowledge I have this issue with you. I choose to continue my life and not let that take me down in this moment.
Yeah.
Not saying it's going to come, like, it can't come back. That's how I saw it.
Yeah, and maybe that's because we're so used to shonen bullshit, literally just wrapping this shit up like
Yeah.
no problem, which it does. That is a huge problem with shonen in general, is the way it simplifies really complex and like that's one of the reasons I like Hunter x Hunter, is that it does not try to go there, and when it does, it's like, nope, that's still gonna fuck them up forever. Here, I think it's giving us the best that it can do with like this huge, complex emotional issue. I don't think it's over. I just think that this is a big first step for her to take in overcoming these problems.
Yeah. I mean, you're certainly right that it is very personal and subjective. All I can say is that, like, from my personal subjective point of view, like last week's Place Further Than the Universe, which deals with grief and loss and the fallout of that, like seeing that gave me that thrill of recognition. Like, yes, that's what life is like. That's what I'm feeling right now that you've explained back to me in such a satisfying way. This didn't give me that. This just gave me, yep, that's how it works in fiction.
Yeah, no, and I think that, and I agree that is what is here, and I guess I fall in the camp of just, you said it's hard to do a fictitious arc with that, like, and make that work. So in this case, with just in the purpose of the story, I felt like it served its purpose. In terms of like transposing that to real life, no, I don't think that is. I don't think that can really be affixed so easily.
And,
but I think it did what it needed to.
Yeah, I didn't think it was like egregious or offensive. It had a chance to elevate itself beyond most other fiction.
Yeah.
And it just kind of stayed at the level of most other fiction.
Yeah, well, welcome to Ancient Magus Bride.
Yeah.
I hate to be that guy because it does a lot of things really well. It also falls within the confines of traditional fantasy fiction a lot. While it might subvert some things, it also stays pretty safe when it could honestly go way further. But beyond that, there was more to that episode. More to the episode than that. We also had a lot of conflict with Joseph Kartoffoulos and that bit that's inside of him. And I'm very curious because I think the next episode we're going to get Joseph's actual backstory.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, I watched the next episode on bit, and it really seems like that's where they're going.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Which I am very much interested in. That is a character that they have not... He's been a device for other characters to react to. I am ready to see what his deal is and what makes him tick.
Are you telling me we're going to get to see Anime Jesus?
We might see Anime Jesus.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think this episode worked really well for me with... I liked, first of all, the dynamism. I don't know what to call it. Her eyes really did a lot for me. Just seeing both of them, how one of them was clearly like more hollow than the other, and her like really bright green one, and just seeing her like revisit the history. I don't know. I got like some symbolic interpretation with that she was seeing like with just two different perspectives, that she can see all the bullshit of this, or she can choose to see with an eye that she knows has seen all these other amazing things. And I don't know. Maybe that's not there. Maybe I'm just reading into that, but
I want to know what
that's
happened to
up
her
me.
dad.
I know. That was
Yeah.
that was powerful.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think that is the other thing that frustrated me with this episode, is that it does take its time telling us in a lot more detail, but basically a bunch of stuff we already knew. We've got 2 episodes left to explore Joseph's backstory, hopefully figure out why did her dad actually leave? We still have no idea. Is he alive? What about her brother? Dunno. And resolve the Elias and Shisei relationship. 2 episodes. I'm getting increasingly worried that this ending is going to feel real rushed at best.
Yeah.
I think I'm suspecting that I don't think they've announced anything, that we'll get a stay tuned for season 2 at the end.
I don't bet on it.
You don't think so?
No, they've caught up to the manga.
Oh,
Like,
really?
Yeah, they're up like. In fact, I believe we might be getting an anime original ending. Yeah, I heard that as of this episode, we are all caught up.
Okay.
That's the thing. I'm not seeing a good... Hey, I would love to be proven wrong, but
Hey,
But any scenario that I can anticipate, an anime original ending, a stay tuned for season 2, a just we're leaving it off at a cliffhanger in case we get a season 2, I don't like any of those options.
anime original ending is the best case scenario. Now, whether or not that's good or bad is going to be up to these writers. I don't know. I could not say. And I'm not going to make any attempts to try and guess how this is going to go because I have no clue. But yeah, no, all of your fears are completely warranted. I don't know how this is going to wrap up satisfactory. That being said, at this point, I'd still probably recommend the show, regardless, because it has done some wonderful things.
Yeah. I mean, I've come this far. I'm on this train all the way to the end. And though I had my problems with this episode, like I said, they're not egregious. They're not offensive. I just felt this had opportunities that it didn't make the most of. But this is still a really good show.
Yeah, I liked this episode in a lot of ways, but it also has me concerned. Here's the thing. This is definitely one of the most concerning episodes because we're getting down to the wire. If they don't pull out a great ending, that'll suck. But it still does a lot of beautiful and moving and dark things, and I don't know. It's Ancient Magus Bride.
I think like the fact that it might not supersede a lot of fiction. That doesn't mean it's not doing things in incredible ways. And for what it does really well, I still highly recommend the show. It knows how to tackle, I think, emotions in a way that a few shows do, at least that I've seen recently, and I'm still getting a lot out of it. So even if the ending sucks, I still think the journey was worth it.
Well, good God, just setting me up for these segues. Let's see if a journey to a place further than the universe is worth it. Segues are always better when you point them out. In episode 10, the expedition arrives at... is it Showa Station? How would you pronounce it?
Showa.
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 Okay.
They have a Y because you can switch the H or the Y, really.
Yeah.
But yes, they arrive at Showa Station just in time for Christmas. The girls get settled in and teach Idol Girl the true meaning of friendship.
Also Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas was there as a backdrop.
Yeah.
As it often is in Japan.
Yeah, this is like you could have the classic Die Hard argument with this episode. Is it a Christmas episode or an episode that happens to take place at Christmas? Who cares? There's some
Yeah.
reindeers, there's some elves, there's some Santa hats. But
Well, the interesting thing is, Japan does totally do Christmas specials. They love to play around with it because it's kind of a party holiday for them.
Yeah.
It's also a big couples holiday. It's good for romance. Like that's what, because it's very non-secular in Japan. Also,
or is very secular.
I'm sorry,
Non-religious.
It's very secular, non-religious. They don't really. I mean, they'll acknowledge the whole Jesus thing, but
Yeah, I imagine not enough of a Christian population there to worry about secular Christmas is a war on Christianity.
Yeah.
so
Dude, this was great. I liked Kimari crying when she's like, can you please sign this friendship contract? She's like, you don't get it. They like you.
yeah, I felt like the contract. So there was a part of me that at first was like, really, you wrote out a contract? And then I remember what her life is like. Yeah, she probably deals with contracts.
That's all she knows, how to get things guaranteed.
Yeah, all of her friends have always been like trying to get close to her because she's a star. She has no idea what actual friendship is. And there was a part of me that thought to myself, this is kind of twee, isn't it? You know, like, oh, she doesn't understand friendship, and she's going at it about it this weird angle that only makes sense to her. But I'm like, yeah, you know what? Given how Japan works and given how her life has worked and given the relationship between these girls, I buy this. And it's sad. And when Kimari just starts crying, I'm like, and everyone's like, oh, she's probably mad. And she's like, she's not mad. She's overcome with sadness. That she looks at this girl and is like, this is what you think this is? No, please, sweetie, no. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it does some good subtle things. Like Shirase kind of pipes up with what friendship means to her and says like, yeah, it's not like it's not like being married or like a parent and child. It's, sometimes friendships kind of, come together, and sometimes they kind of fade away, and it's nobody's fault, and it's fine. And it kind of cuts from that to Cool Big Sis and Captain Moleface drinking a toast to their fallen friend, like juxtaposing that idea of friendship as a lighter, more casual thing with, like, no, here's a friendship that's still very important to them, like, even after she's gone.
Yeah.
And it made me think about, like you said, something that could be a little twee and a little surface level, like, made me kind of think about different friendships I've had. And yeah, some of them that have faded away when I didn't want them to, but there didn't seem to be anything I could do about it. And others, like, I went to Portland recently and visited my old friend. He and I are both shit at, like, keeping in touch and doing the long distance friend thing. We've talked maybe twice in the last 10 years. And then I showed up and we met again in person, and boom, everything's just right back the way it was. He's got kids now. I'm over here doing whatever this is. But as soon as we see each other again, it's like, yeah, that friendship did not go away just because we lost contact. It was always still there.
This show does a lot with friendship, which a lot of other shows try to do and fail. And what I mean is talking about what friendship is, what friendship means to different people, because all the girls kind of give their own different perspectives on what friendship means to them, because it's so hard to give it a real definition. And so this entire episode is about finding out what Shiraishi's definition of friendship is. And so by the end of it, it's really well done. It's really sweet and personal, and the music that, like, the insert song in this one is very subtle and simple in the background, but it lends itself very well to these moments. And it just the framing of the episode like, it's just done so very well. I love this show. I love its characters, and this is the best take on what is friendship that I've almost ever seen out of an anime, because it's just so sincere.
Yeah, they do a great job at just showing through how they talk. That's what it is. It's how they talk to each other, and the little things they do, their body language, all those tiny things that just really careful storytellers pay attention to, and it comes through in great ways in this. I love the near the very end when they say, no, friendship is this word, and she's like, thank you, nay. She's like, yeah, that's right. Like, am I doing the right thing? Did I properly friend? And just being able to talk to someone on that level. Like, yes, that's it.
That part got to me a lot.
Oh, same.
So it's lost in translation a little bit, because ne in Japanese is like right or yeah. We don't have really something like that. Not really. I mean, we have kind of a similar thing, but it's not culturally as relevant, because the Japanese will just use ne as a way to affirm with each other. It is like, so when they just start using it, it's like, yeah, I get you. I'm there. I'm with you. I'm feeling you. And that's so, like, that one moment is so warm and so perfect. I loved it. I was like, that's it. That is what friendship means. It's being on the same wavelength. It's being in this, like, experience together and having the exact, like, that's what it is. It's seeing the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's so good.
Yeah, and that's something that is a lot more difficult when you are that young, when you're not as confident in yourself, when you don't have as much experience dealing with other people. It's so much easier to doubt yourself. So seeing them kind of discover that and work through it felt satisfying and felt real.
Yeah. It was honestly really nice, because I'm like, just a little personal anecdote, like one of my friends that I've known him since I was 10. I've known him for over 15 years, and he's getting married, and I can't make it to his wedding, and I was really fucking bummed out. So I kept dreading telling him about it, but I called him up and I told him about it, and I was like, hey, I have this thing going on. I can't make it. And he's like, no, he understood. And he was like, and just right after that, we just kept talking for like another 25 minutes, and I hadn't talked to him in like a year and a half. Like, man, and then just seeing them do that text message and talking to each other, like, yeah, that's what friendship is, man. It's great.
Yeah, I've got a billion friends that I haven't seen in years, and
Yeah.
every once in a while they'll just text me and I'll be like, oh man, how you doing? How's your life?
Yeah. And just the way the show carries so confidently, like its message and its writing, does so much for me. It's the most human show I've seen in a while. Aside from like Inuyashiki, I guess.
Yeah, it's here. I'm just gonna hold this up.
Yeah.
Do it.
It's great.
Trifecta.
Yeah.
For our friends.
The moment this show doesn't get a trifecta is a cold, terrible day.
It'd have to be a different studio and a different team.
Yeah.
They just have to keep doing what they do and keep chugging on.
Yeah. Madhouse, you fucking brilliant group of.
They're real good. I've said we should probably at some point, if there was any doubt about whether that affects our judgment on this show, just look at how anybody on the gaming channel talks about Xenoverse 2, which we had people in. We're in nobody's pocket. You think we won't bite the hand that feeds us? But full disclosure, that is what's going on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what's going on in episode 9 of Tiny Life in the Woods. In part 1, the littlest necromancer takes Hakumei and Mikochi underwater with the power of the songstress rhythm. In part 2, Mikochi makes the songstress I wrote down the songstress. Makes the necromancer a new set of clothes. This episode is not hot garbage like last episode.
It's not hot garbage.
it is-
I will say that. I've been getting bored from recent episodes. This was not bad.
This was not bad, but this was like there was a real good couple of episodes in the middle there where it was focusing on Hakumei and her deal and what makes her tick, and I kind of wanted more of that, and it does not seem interested in giving me more of that. So, while this isn't like a step down for the show and is certainly a step up from last week, I think I've gotten as much of this as I want at this point.
So I think it's pretty obvious that you guys might not be the biggest fan of Mikochi and her whole deal.
I just think it's a one note deal.
Yeah, it kind of.
And I think that's the biggest problem.
I think I think Hakumei's is kind of in the same vein as being
little.
the same idea and the same concept, because while they're definitely they're not shallow characters, but in that regard, they're also not incredibly over the top. They're very actually like balanced and if not realistic, then word for it. They're not bland, but they're just not very over the top.
Yeah, they're understated.
Yeah, they're very understated. That's kind of what this entire show goes for a lot of the time, which is why last episode was so strange, because it just goes crazy. In this episode, we get things I feel like we've kind of done before. Yeah, like the whole deep sea expedition thing was kind of interesting, but that plays second fiddle to the actual story that's going on, which is the relationship between the necromancer and the songstress. The songstress is a weird character. They want her to be kind of this this kind of dynamic character from a very artistic background, and I'm very pampered, and she's supposed to be kind of not bougie, but refined.
A little.
She's very refined. The people that speak to her like very polite Japanese people do, and not this very frank manner in which the necromancer does. But that's not that interesting. It's not that interesting to see the necromancer get on her nerves. And Tyler's looking at us very oddly. What's happening?
And we're back. Thank you for your patience with our technical difficulties, but we are back now, still talking about Hakumei and Mikochi.
Hakumei and Mikochi.
Except I don't know what else to say.
Look, as the guy who... I finally realized why I watched this show as I was watching it last night. And I did find myself not incredibly entertained, but what I did find myself was falling back into the sense of comfort with this show. This show is like a glass of wine for me at the end of my week. It's something where I can sit back and watch these characters who I've come to really enjoy and really like go about their lives and interact with each other. It's not thrilling and it's not moving by any means most of the time. Sometimes it does elicit some real emotion from me, but episodes like this are not meant to do that. It's I believe, and I hope I'm using this term correctly, my friend Gavin, who I pregame with, called it anime hygge. The idea is that it's this very specific emotion that I get from Hakumei.
Oh,
Mikochi when it
that's
comes-
like the Danish whatever term
Yeah.
that like everybody's talking about now.
Yeah.
Every fucking bookstore. Yeah.
And I dig on that. I dig on this show. It's reaching a part of me that's like very comforting and very soft and very focused on just, I don't know, bring me to this place of like refreshment. That's what it feels like. And I don't know. I like it. I still like this show. I liked this episode. It was not amazing, but it's also like still it's the average Hakumei Mikochi episode and not
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah,
Or even
100%.
kind of like the week before it. Like this is what I tune into Hakumei Mikochi for. So in that regard, I'm gonna give it the fuck. But I kind of suspect that it's not going to get the same from you.
It's funny how your standards, or at least how my standards, change as the season wears on. Because, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when it was down to Hakumei and Mikochi versus Junji Ito, I was sitting here like, you know what? Actually, I would have been fine if they'd both lived. I'm still enjoying them. They're still all right. They're not the best. They're not great. And now here 2 weeks later, I'm like, but it's also 20 minutes of my life that I could be doing anything else with. So it's not a bad show. It's got a lot of good stuff going for it, but it's just not keeping me engaged. So I'm going to hold up that knife.
Yeah.
Like Ben says, it's not a bad show. I would not call this a bad show at all. But I think it is emphasizing traits that it's not the best at. I think it's trying to push towards character development when I've never given a shit about the characters. And I feel like they had a chance with Hakumei to make her stuff more interesting, whichever the fuck of them it is. I forget their names. But they decided to do something, and I don't know, they never really saw it through. I'm gonna kill it because it's just not, I don't think it's going to be what I would get the most out of, which is more stuff with them traveling, doing something fantastic, but make the setting that much more important. And they never do. It's always about the characters, and I think they're kind of bland.
So that's a double kill for Hakumei and Mikochi, Tiny Little Life in the Woods. Unless Killing Bites shits the bed real bad, I think we might know what's dying this week. But let's find out, because something sharper fangs. Here in episode 9 of Killing Bites, which, by the way, was up right on time this week. I would never take credit for that, except I'm totally gonna. But here in episode 9, nothing much happens. Hitomi Badger and Tiger fight some. Then Hoodie Man shows up. Turns out he's something called a pangolin. He's gonna fight. The end. This might be the weakest episode yet of Killing Bites.
Yeah, I agree. Because guess who they decided to push up to the fucking forefront? Yuya.
Yeah. And then the fighting was some of the weakest I think we've had so far. Like the Tiger and Hitomi Badger fight, I'm not feeling, because I've said over and over, it's got this brisk pace, it's over and done. Now it's kind of descended into that shonen bullshit where a thing happens and then we spend 20 to 30 seconds explaining what just happened before another thing happens.
A lot of, there's no way she could have taken that attack. She took the attack. There's no way she survived that. She survived the attack. The pangolin hits her head on. Her arm looks full on broken. Nope, she's fine. She gets back up and gets back to fighting.
Rabbit was the highlight of this episode.
Rabbit actually had I loved that scene. I was not expecting to get a laugh and a hell yeah out of Rabbit. And when she's just like, I'm like, okay, that's a reuse of animation that works perfectly.
Also, she shows up and she gets hit by that civet wrap real hard, and the civet's like, she should not be affected this strong. It should have dispersed mostly by now.
But rabbits mate daily!
Yep.
And that, like, up until that point, it was like, yeah, haha, chuckle, but it's still, just a redux of the gag that I already chuckled at 2 episodes ago, until she's, like, sitting there, like, squirming and says, I want to make babies. Just, like, takes it that extra step farther.
Yeah.
That I felt like most of this episode was missing. You know, this show excels at being just dumb bullshit and then taking it one step above and making it great.
Yeah, its absurdity is what this show flourishes on. And to that regard, I'd like to point out that our boy Keto's a pangolin.
That's such a cool pick. As soon as the tail came out, I was like, oh shit, is he a pangolin?
Yes,
That's right.
I thought the same thing too. Because
Yeah.
so I was talking with my friend Gavin, and he's like, "So apparently pangolins are a thing." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, pangolins are a thing."
And they love trees.
They're fucking battle armadillos. They're awesome
Yeah.
as shit.
I did not know what a pangolin was. I had to Wikipedia it. Apparently, they're like armadillos crossed with anteaters.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and they're badass. They're awesome. They're adorable, and their armor looks like an armadillo went to a blacksmith and said, like, "I'm going into fucking battle. I need you. I want to look like a Dark Souls character. Make this happen." And it's so cool. I love pangolins, and like I wanted him to be an elephant because I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. Like have the fucking pachyderm be the strongest guy. No, they went the opposite way. They went small, but then they made you think, yeah, what would happen if you took a small animal that is otherwise really strong for its size and then blew it up to human size? What happens?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is the strongest therianthrope is going to be Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Ant-Man.
funny thing is, and that's the clever thing about this. The clever thing is not, oh yeah, let's take a traditionally powerful animal. No, when you take a tiger and then you make it human size, it's probably not going to be as strong as an actual tiger. But you take a pangolin and then you make it human size. What the fuck do you get there? Oh shit.
Yeah. I thought this episode was great. I think every episode of this show is great. Maybe I'm brainwashed. I don't fucking care. I'm not looking at this show with a critical eye anymore. I'm biased. I don't give a fuck. Just say whatever you want. It is exactly what I need. It always makes me laugh, and that's what I need so bad.
Well, I will say in this episode, I don't know if this was the weakest episode, but I will say it was the weakest in terms of the fightings. And I'll be honest with you. For me in this show, I need the fighting to be good. Not amazing, but I need it to be good because I want the main draw of this to be the fighting to still be effective and for me to still get that thrill of, oh hell yeah, that's stupid and awesome.
When it's not, I think the art is still excellent. The art this episode was so fucking good.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of remarkable. This show, for being trash, is not badly animated trash.
I'm
very
talking about
surprised by
I'm
that.
talking about the art, like the art of Tiger, like
What-
his face.
When I say animation, just for the purpose of this, I'm not going to try and say art and animation.
Okay.
I'm going to say the visuals.
Oh, you're not pulling an AJ?
The visuals here are spectacular.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not amazing. They're not Madhouse quality, but they're also, it's good to look at. It's a
Yeah.
nice show to watch.
Yeah. I was hoping for an Angry Zoo books about pangolins.
I hope we get it next episode.
I'm really hoping, yeah, because I wanted that as soon as he transformed and we found out what he was. And since the fighting was not like doing it for me, I'm like, that's okay, as long as I get that zoo books. Give me that zoo books though. I didn't get the zoo books. That made me a little sad.
Don't worry. I'm sure we'll get the zoo books next episode when he's using all of his different techniques that the pangolin obviously uses in its everyday battle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, if anything, this episode made me more excited for the next one because they have set up a lot of really fun stuff, and I think they know how to make a payoff. If the past episodes are any indication.
Yeah, I don't know that I share that same faith. Like, it might very well just drop off now and just become every other dumb action show without that, because that's kind of what this episode was to me. It's like, yeah, it's fine, it's serviceable. It's not giving me that, it's not taking it up to 11. It's not giving me that extra juice.
No,
But-
I agree. They didn't dial it up to 11 for this one because they had a lot of screen time dedicated to a flashback for the main character, and like whatever.
Yeah.
Well, the main character, if we're going to call Yuya that, he's kind of a secondary main character, if you
Yeah.
want to say he and Hitomi share the spotlight.
Yeah.
But Yuya sucks. I mean, Yuya's not like, there are worse characters than Yuya by a million miles.
Yeah.
In fact, his entire conceit is that he takes his normalcy and he runs with it. Like, he's not a bad guy. He's not an idiot. He's not cowardly. But he's a normal guy. So this whole entire conceit of like, man, I've been letting people push me around my entire life, and I always, concede. I'm like, yeah, cool. I don't care, dude.
I think what they were going for, because what they've always done is like, yeah, he's a boring character, he's the worst. What they've done is just taken that and run with it. Right
Yeah.
when you think they're gonna redeem him, they just give him another kick in the ass.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they were going for here, where they do this whole build up like, no, it is my decision to trust Hitomi. I believe in her. And then it turns out that he's just walking into the Red Lady's trap the whole
Yeah,
time.
it's my decision to do nothing, and that's the most admirable trait about me.
Yeah. I didn't think brain fart vocabulary. I didn't think they quite followed through with that as well as they could have.
No, not at all.
But I think that was the idea. But, you know, we say sometimes this show just needs to keep being itself. Like, I did not feel that way about Hakumei and Mikochi. It had shown glimmers of improvement and needed to keep doing that, and it kind of didn't. This show really does, at least right now, in episode 9 of 12, it really does just need to keep being itself, and I will see it through to the end.
Yeah, I
Like-
guess that's what I mean. Is it just needs to coast? It just needs to coast it out, and I have faith that it can do that.
Yeah, like I would, coming at it from very different angles, I would put this on the same level as Ancient Magus Bride, where it's built up enough goodwill with me that it could suck from here on out, and I would still be committed to seeing it through to the end. I would prefer it be awesome, obviously.
Yeah.
But, yeah, even if this is all it's going to be for the next 3 episodes, yeah, sure, I'll watch 3 more episodes of this.
I'm kind of curious how this is all gonna shake out. I hope the fighting coming up here is as good as it needs to be for me to really enjoy it, because again, the fighting for me is kind of the main draw of this. I love how absurd the fights get. I love so in this last episode was nothing but kind of the same bullshit that we don't like in most fighting anime.
Yeah, that said, that particular aspect, I think I do feel a little more optimistic about, because this would not be the first show to drop the ball a little in the action because they're saving their budget for that big climax.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm waiting for Hitomi's climax.
No, I'm.
Well,
I'm
what? We didn't get it last time. I'm just
No,
saying.
we didn't.
I want Hitomi to make babies with Rabbit. I don't care how little sense it makes.
Whatever, dude. They're genetic modification. They got some hookup. They'll figure it out.
That's true.
By the way, that whole baby's line was fetish fuel. Like,
Oh, yeah.
hardcore.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just sitting here like, okay, you know what? I know what to expect from Killing Bites, but that caught me off guard. I'm like, "Ooh, okay, cool."
And that's why it was great.
No,
Yeah,
it,
you know,
it was good.
That's funny. I hope nobody ever calls us hypocrites for like this show is all openly trash. There's nothing subversive about it, and that's the reason that we're like, you know what? Fuck it, Killing Bites. Sit back and just eat some trash for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think if you have trouble enjoying this, the stick's a little too far up your butt.
I think if you have trouble enjoying this, it's just not your show.
Nope.
But I
Nope,
also
I don't
I
like
would not
you.
begrudge anybody whose show this is.
I probably don't like you.
Well, I still like this show. I'll still hold up that eggplant.
Yeah, gonna give it the eggplant. Let's. Yeah.
Trifecta,
Yeah.
for the record.
I want to make babies with this show.
I am sort of glad that this show is only 12 episodes.
Oh,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think any more, and it would risk a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think it would be rough trying to say, and then once this Battle Royale Destroy All, once that's done, buckle up for the Spring 2018 court. Like, no, nope, I think get in, give me that trashy trash, and then get out.
The reason that I always liken this to a trashy 90s OVA is that if it were any longer than this, like, nice, digestible chunk, yeah, you'd get tired of it.
Yeah, when you have such an abrasive identity, you can't have it for that long.
Yeah, and because so much of what it does is introducing, here's this new weird creature, boom, here's your angry zoo books, boom, here's its weird dumb attack name.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's only so much you can do with that before it starts getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
And we don't want ridiculous out of Killing Bites.
Heavens no.
But with that trifecta, officially Hakumei and Mikochi, farewell. You showed so much promise. Yeah, you showed a little bit of promise.
Goodbye, Hakumei Mikochi. I'm probably still going to watch you.
Is it dead?
It's dead.
It's all the way dead.
It's dead, Jim.
So gearing up towards the end of the season, I've been started keeping like how many episodes we have left to go in my notes here, and yeah, we're gearing up towards some endings.
Yeah. It's crazy.
How long's the place further than the universe? Is it 12?
13.
Oh,
yeah.
it's 13. Good.
Yeah, so we've got, of course, it was on episode 10 this week, so we've got 3 more, 11, 12, 13.
Yeah.
We got, 3 more of Killing Bites, because that's an episode behind. And then, what else we got? Only 2 more of Ancient Magus Bride.
Oh man, it's when you near the end, it's always weird because there's a part of me that's like, and it's done and it's gone now.
Yeah, and unlike last season, you know, we started or the end of the fall 2017 season, like we had a couple. Ancient Magus Bride was the one that carried over, but if Garo had lived, it might have carried over. This season, we know nothing's like once spring rolls around, it's a whole fresh slate of shows. That's gonna be weird.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of a fresh slate of shows, I've had cameraman Tyler doing research trying to figure out what might be on the poll, and we've got a document. Check out discord.gg/Team 4-Star if you want to check that out. If you want to check over it, see if anything's missing that should be there, let us know. Trying to get that out there a little earlier, make sure nothing falls through the cracks.
Yeah.
Figure out what the hell we're doing. It's hard because
That'd be nice because I feel like we never know what we're doing.
yeah, well, it's hard because, you know, a month out from the start of the next season, you would think we would have a pretty good idea of what's getting simulcast, and we fucking don't.
Hey,
No.
imagine if Hakuhoshin, Engi, and Citrus were replaced by Gakuen Babysitters and After the Rain. We want that scenario. We want the scenario where we have the best that we can possibly review. So, hopefully we can do that. Hopefully, with your guys' input, we get all the good shows on there.
Yeah, well, and also, hopefully waiting until an episode is out so we can actually fairly judge instead of, here's this
Yeah.
fucking paragraph.
We're still trying to figure this out.
Yeah. But thank you for trying to figure this out with us. Thank you for joining us here today. We will see you next week, for some penultimate episodes of things.
God,
It's going to be weird.
It is gonna be weird.
I can't believe we're almost closing out another season. We're gonna have done a whole year of this before we know it.
Yeah.
It already doesn't feel like 2 seasons to me.
Yeah, half a year. It's
Wow.
crazy.
All right.
See you next time, folks.
See ya.